All right. So I'm a little late. 2 minutes late. Okay, 3 minutes late. You have to excuse me. I did have to go get a bit of water, and because I was editing. So yes, welcome to the seventh installment of this YouTube. This YouTube live for a read along for the Chuttering Magpie, where we are reading right now The Blue Castle. And yes, we left off on a rather okay note. So far, we have gotten to know all the other characters just fine. And we have met Cissy, we have met Barney. We just get to know Valancy and her new lifestyle. I think she's okay. She's having a better time than we possibly could have figured. I mean, the first time I read this, I was kind of worried because she was gonna go off to work for like the town drunkard. So I was like, yo, girl, I know you want to be emancipated. I am down for emancipation and liberation. Or maybe not like going crazy, but like take care of yourself, girl. So I'm at least happy to know that. Well, I was very relieved to know that, you know, she was safe. And so I'm happy to see that. We also got to meet Cissy, which is who is somebody. I just want to protect her, you guys. She deserves better. Let's see. Then we had Barney again. Valancy is kind of infatuated with the guy. We don't know anything about him really. Like, we know about him, but not about like who he is, where he came from, like his life and stuff. Like, he's still a mystery even though we've gotten to know him. So yeah. So that's where we left off. We left off on chapter, oh goodness gracious, where's my book? I think it was like 20 or something like that. No, chapter 19. So today we're going to be reading 20 and 21. We're not going to go past 21 for good reason. I have a good reason for not going past 21 because I already kind of went ahead and saw what were the best parts to break. So we're going to do today 20 and 21. But don't worry, you guys. They're very good chapters. In fact, I actually was pushed ahead the reading schedule because I usually go on Mondays and Sundays and weekends. They're kind of like iffy. I could have done a live yesterday, but I decided I decided to just take the Saturday evening off. So anyway, so here we are. I just want to say hello to those that said hello in the early gang in the chat. Early gang, hello. Red Tempest was the first one who left a message. Unfortunately, he won't be able to join us today. So I hope you enjoy the rewatch. I'll be doing my best so you have a few laughs and enjoy it, even though you won't be part of the chat. You know, you will be missed. Let's see who else we have. Arcady Durrell, hello, how are you, darling? Happy to see you here. And also Little Butterfly will be listening. I'm glad that you're here. And so I think, am I forgetting anything else? If there's anybody who hasn't read this book, who has no idea what we're talking about, again, the TLDR is 1920s Canada, a girl living in a small town. She's very kind of like, she just lives a very sad life because her parents, her mother's overbearing and she's never really had a life. She learns that she's gonna die soon. She only has like a year at most because she has a heart condition. So she decides, what the heck, she throws caution to the wind and decides to, you know, go out there and look for a semblance of a life, you know, to at least enjoy the little bit of time she has left. So she got a job being a housekeeper and a nurse at a guy's house. He has a daughter who's dying from tuberculosis. And and she also met somebody while working there, somebody who she's kind of like been kind of interested in, but like because as a town curiosity, he's like the scoundrel, like everybody likes to badmouth, but he doesn't seem to be that bad. So far we we had Valancy and Barney interact, and I think that the girl is more than a little besotted. I think she likes him. I think that all the signs are there. So I mean, her heart was palpitating when Barney was talking to her like up close. So I don't know. I don't know if that's not if that's not something. I don't know what is. All right. So let us then continue reading this chapter, chapter 20 and 21. That's what we're going to be reading today. I hope you enjoy it. The question was, what do you guys think Valancy will do with her first paycheck? What did you guys do with your first paycheck? I remember my first paycheck, I spent it all to pay college stuff, books, and I think I splurged and bought some food and maybe like something that was not secondhand regarding clothing. It was just me. I was poor, okay? So the first paycheck, that's what it went to, like college stuff, and yeah, that's what it went to. I think I gave my mom some money as well, but I can't quote you on that. Arcady Dra says she already lost the war. I know, right? And that puts me to mind the Kaguya-sama anime. Do you watch it too? She's lost the war. Yeah, whoever falls first loses. But we'll see who if there's anything going on, if there's a relationship, who is the person that falls, that says it out loud. That's it's not just who falls first, it's who falls harder and confesses their love. We'll see. We will see. Gosh, am I spoiling things? If there's a relationship, which I'm not saying there will be, but if. Oh, who am I kidding, you guys? There might be. There's a 90% chance that there might be a relationship. I don't know. All right, enough about spoiling. Well, it's not really a spoiler. Come on, it's what kind of story doesn't have romance, okay? So let's see. Let's do this, you guys. Let me know in the comments what you used to buy your first pay. What you used your first paycheck on. Arcady Durrell says I saved mine for after my study and the end used to move to another country. Wow, you're so smart. I did not. Wow, you had a good head on your shoulders. Good for you. I'm glad that it works out. So we're gonna see what Valancy used her first paycheck on. You guys ready? Let's do this. Chapter 20. When Abel Gay paid Valancy her first month's wages, which he did promptly, in bills reeking with the odor of tobacco and whiskey, Valancy went into Deerwood and spent every cent of it. She got a pretty green crepe dress with a girdle of crimson beads at a bargain sale, a pair of silk stockings to match, and a little crinkled green hat with a crimson rose in it. She even bought a foolish little be-ribboned and be-laced nightgown. She passed the house on Elm Street twice. Valancy never even thought about it as home, but saw no one. No doubt her mother was knitting in the room this lovely June evening, playing solitaire and cheating. Valancy knew that Mrs. Frederick always cheated. She never lost a game. Most of the people Valancy met looked at her seriously and passed her with a cool nod. Nobody stopped to speak to her. Valancy put on her dress when she got home. Then she took it off again. She felt so miserably undressed in its low neck and short sleeves, and that low crimson girdle around the hip seemed positively indecent. She hung it up in the closet, feeling flatly that she had wasted her money. She would never have the courage to wear that dress. John Foster's arraignment of fear had no power to stiffen her against this. In this one thing, habit and custom were still all-powerful. Yet she sighed as she went down to meet Barney Snaith in her old snuff-brown silk. That green thing had been very becoming. She had seen so much in She had seen so much in her one ashamed glance. Above it, her eyes had looked like odd brown jewels, and the girdle had given her flat figure an entirely different appearance. She wished she could have left it on, but there were some things John Foster did not know. Every Sunday evening, Valancy went to the little Free Methodist church in a valley on the edge of the upback, a spireless little gray building among the pines, with a few sunken graves and mossy gravestones in the small, paling-encircled grass-ground square behind it. Oh, grass-ground square beside it. She liked the minister who preached there. He was so simple and sincere, an old man who lived in Port Lawrence and came out by the lake in a little disappearing propeller boat to give a free service to the people of the small stony farms back of the hills, who would otherwise never have heard any gospel message. She liked the simple service and the fervent singing. She liked to sit by the open window and look out into the pine woods. The congregation was always small. The Free Methodists were few in number, poor and generally illiterate. Oh, wait. The Free Methodists were the Free Methodists were few in number, poor, and generally illiterate. But Valancy loved those Sunday evenings. For the first time in her life, she liked going to church. The rumor reached Deerwood that she had turned Free Methodist and sent Mrs. Frederick to bed for a day. But Valancy had not turned anything. She went to the church because she liked it, and because in some inexplicable way it did her good. Old Mr. Towers believed exactly what he preached, and somehow it made a tremendous difference. Oddly enough, Roaring Abel disapproved of her going to the hill church as strongly as Mrs. Frederick herself could have done. He had no use for Free Methodists. He was a Presbyterian. But Valancy went in spite of him. "We'll hear something worse than that about her soon," Uncle Benjamin predicted gloomily. They did. Valancy could not quite explain, even to herself, just why she wanted to go to that party. It was a dance up back at Chidley Corners, and dances at Chidley Corners were not, as a rule, the sort of assemblies where well-brought-up young ladies were found. Valancy knew it was coming off, for Roaring Abel had been engaged as one of the fiddlers. But the idea of going had never occurred to her until Roaring Abel himself broached it at supper. "You come with me to the dance," he ordered. "It'll do you good. Put some color in your face. You look peaked. You want something to liven you up." Valancy found herself suddenly wanting to go. She knew nothing at all of what dances at Chidley Corners were apt to be like. Her idea of dances had been fashioned on the correct affairs that went by that name in Deerwood and Port Lawrence. Of course, she knew the Corners' dance wouldn't be just like them. Much more informal, of course, but so much more the interesting. But so much the more interesting. Why shouldn't she go? Cissy was in a week of apparent health and improvement. She wouldn't mind staying alone in the least. She entreated Valancy to go if she wanted to, and Valancy did want to go. She went to her room to dress. A rage against the snuff-brown silk seized her. Wear that to a party? Never! She pulled her dream crepe from its hanger and put it on feverishly. It was nonsense to feel so naked just because her neck and arms were bare. That was just her old maidishness. She would not be ridden by it. On went the dress, the slippers. It was the first time she had worn a pretty dress since the organdies of her early teens, and they had never made her look like this. If she only had a necklace or something, she wouldn't feel so bare then. She ran down to the garden. There were clovers there, great crimson things growing in the long grass. Valancy gathered handfuls of them and strung them on a cord. Fastened above her neck, they gave her the comfortable sensation of a collar and were oddly becoming. Another circle of them went round her hair, dressed in the low puffs that became her. Excitement brought those faint pink stains to her face. She flung on her coat and pulled the little twisty hat over her hair. "You look so nice and different, dear," said Cissy, "like a green moonbeam with a gleam of red in it, if there could be such a thing." Valancy stooped to kiss her. "I don't feel right about leaving you alone, Cissy." "Oh, I'll be all right. I feel better tonight than I have for a long while. I've been feeling badly to see you sticking here so closely on my account. I hope you'll have a nice time. I never was at a party at the Corners, but I used to go sometimes, long ago, to dances up back. We always had good times, and you needn't be afraid of father getting drunk tonight. He never drinks when he engages to play for a party, but there may be liquor. What will you do if it gets rough?" "Nobody would molest me." "Not seriously, I suppose. Father would see to that. But it might be noisy and unpleasant." "I don't mind. I won't mind. I'm only going as a looker-on. I don't expect to dance. I just want to see what a party is like. No, I just want to see what a party up back is like. I've never seen anything except decorous deerwood." Cissy smiled rather dubiously. She knew much better than Valancy what a party up back might be like if there should be liquor. But again, there mightn't be. "I hope you'll enjoy it, dear," she repeated. Valancy enjoyed the drive there. They went early, for it was 12 miles to Chidley Corners, and they had to go in Abel's old ragged top buggy. The road was rough and rocky, like most Muskoka roads, but full of the austere charm of northern woods. It wound through beautiful purring pines that were ranks of enchantment in the June sunset, and over the curious jade-green rivers of Muskoka, fringed by aspens that were always quivering with some supernal joy. Roaring Abel was excellent company, too. He knew all the stories and legends of the wild, beautiful upback, and he told them to Valancy as they drove along. Valancy had several fits of inward laughter over what Uncle Benjamin and Aunt Wellington et al. Would feel and think and say if they saw her driving with Roaring Abel in that terrible buggy to a dance at Chidley Corners. At first the dance was quiet enough, and Valancy was amused and entertained. She even danced twice herself, with a couple of nice up-back boys who danced beautifully and told her she did too. Another compliment came her way. Not a very subtle one, perhaps. Not a very subtle one, perhaps. But Valancy had had too few compliments in her life to be over-nice on that point. She overheard two of the up-back young men talking about her in the dark lean-to behind her. "You know who that girl in green is?" "Nope. Guess she's from up. Gosh, goodness. Nope. Guess she's from out front. The port, maybe. Got a stylish look to her." "No beaut, but cute looking, I'll say. J'ever see such eyes?" The big room was decorated with pine and fir boughs, and fir boughs, and lighted by Chinese lanterns. The floor was waxed, and Roaring Abel's fiddle, purring under his skilled touch, worked magic. The up-back girls were pretty and prettily dressed. Valancy thought it the nicest party she had attended. The nicest party she had ever attended. By 11 o'clock, she had changed her mind. A new crowd had arrived, a crowd unmistakably drunk. Whiskey began to circulate freely. Very soon, almost all the men were partly drunk. Those in the porch and outside around the door began howling "Come all ye's," and continued to howl them. The room grew noisy and reeking. Quarrels started up here and there. Bad language and obscene songs were heard. The girls, swung rudely in the dances, became disheveled and tawdry. Valancy, alone in her corner, was feeling disgusted and repentant. Why had she ever come to such a place? Freedom and independence were all very well, but one should not be a little fool. She might have known what it would be like. She might have taken warning from Cissy's guarded sentences. Her head was aching. She was sick of the whole thing, but what could she do? She must stay to the end. Abel could not leave till then, and that would probably be not till 3 or 4 in the morning. The new influx of boys had left the girls far in the minority, and partners were scarce. Valancy was pestered with invitations to dance. She refused them all shortly, and some of her refusals were not well taken. There were muttered oaths and sullen looks. Across the room, she saw a group of the strangers talking together and glancing meaningly at her. What were they plotting? It was at this moment that she saw Barney Snaith looking in over the heads of the crowd at the doorway. Valancy had 2 distinct convictions. One was that she was quite safe now. The other was that this was why she had wanted to come to the dance. It had been such an absurd hope that she had not recognized it before, but now she knew she had come because of the possibility that Barney might be there too. She thought that perhaps she ought to be ashamed for this, but she wasn't. After her feeling of relief, her next feeling was one of annoyance with Barney for coming there unshaved. Surely he might have... Valancy! Surely he might have enough self-respect to groom himself up decently when he went to a party. There he was, bareheaded, bristly-chinned, in his old trousers and his blue homespun shirt. Not even a coat. Valancy could have shaken him in her anger. No wonder people believed everything bad about him. But she was not afraid any longer. One of the whispering group left his comrades and came across the room to her, through the whirling couples that now filled it uncomfortably. He was a tall, broad-shouldered fellow, not ill-dressed or ill-looking, but unmistakably half-drunk. He asked Valancy to dance. Valancy declined civilly. His face turned livid. He threw his arm about her and pulled her to him. His hot, whiskied breath burned her face. "We won't have fine lady airs here, my girl. If you ain't too good to come here, you ain't too good to dance with us. Me and my pals have been watching you. You've got to give us each a turn and a kiss to boot." And a kiss to boot. Valancy tried desperately and vainly to free herself. She was being dragged out into the maze of shouting, stamping, yelling dancers. The next moment, the man who held her went staggering across the room from a neatly planted blow on the jaw, knocking down whirling couples as he went. Valancy felt her arm grasped. "This way, quick," said Barney Snaith. He swung her out through the open window behind them, vaulted lightly over the sill, and caught her hand. "Quick, we must run for it. They'll be after us." Valancy ran as she had never run before, clinging tight to Barney's hand, wondering why she did not drop dead in such a mad scamper. Suppose she did! What a scandal it would make for her poor people! For the first time, Valancy felt a little sorry for them. Also, she felt glad that she had escaped from that horrible row. Also, glad that she was holding tight to Barney's hand. Her feelings were badly mixed, and she had never had so many in such a brief time in her life. They finally reached a quiet corner in the pine woods. The pursuit had taken a different direction, and the whoops and yells behind them were growing faint. Valancy, out of breath, with a crazily beating heart, collapsed on the trunk of a fallen pine. "Thanks. What a goose you were to come to such a place," said Barney. "I didn't know it would be like this," protested Valancy. "You should have known. Chidley Corners. It was just a name to me." Valancy knew Barney could not realize how ignorant she was of the regions up back. She had lived in Deerwood all her life, and of course he supposed she knew. He didn't know how she had been brought up. There was no use trying to explain. "When I drifted in at Abel's this evening, and Cissy told me you'd come here, I was amazed and downright scared. Cissy told me she was worried about you, but hadn't liked to say anything to dissuade you, For fear you'd think she was thinking selfishly about herself. So I came on up here instead of going to Deerwood. Valancy felt a sudden delightful glow irradiating her soul and body under the dark pines. So he had actually come up to look after her. As soon as they'll stop hunting us. As soon as they stop. Where are we? Okay, here I am. As soon as they stop hunting for us, we'll sneak around to the Muskoka Road. I left Lady Jane down there. I'll take you home. I suppose you've had enough of your party. Quite, said Valancy meekly. Did that sound meek? It did not, huh? Quite, said Valancy meekly. The first half of the way home, neither of them said anything. It would not have been much use. Lady Jane made so much noise they could not have heard each other anyway. They could not have heard each other. Anyway, Valancy did not feel conversationally inclined. She was ashamed of the whole affair, ashamed of her folly in going, ashamed of being found in such a place by Barney Snaith. By Barney Snaith, reputed jailbreaker, infidel, forger, and defaulter. Valancy's lips twitched in the darkness as she thought of it. But she was ashamed. And yet, she was enjoying herself, was full of a strange exultation, bumping over that rough road beside Barney Snaith. The big trees shot by them. The tall mulleins stood up along the road in stiff, orderly ranks like companies of soldiers. The thistles looked like drunken fairies or tipsy elves as their car lights passed over them. This was the first time she had ever been in a car. After all, she liked it. She was not in the least afraid with Barney at the wheel. Her spirits rose rapidly as they tore along. She ceased to feel ashamed. She ceased to feel anything except that she was part of a comet rushing gloriously through the night of space. All at once, just where the pine woods frayed out to the scrub barrens, Lady Jane became quiet. Too quiet. Lady Jane slowed down quietly and stopped. Barney uttered an aghast exclamation, got out, investigated, came apologetically back. I'm a doddering idiot, out of gas. I knew I was short when I left home, but I meant to fill up in Deerwood. Then I forgot all about it in my hurry to get to the Corners. What can we do? Asked Valancy coolly. I don't know. There's no gas nearer than Deerwood, 9 miles away, and I don't dare leave you here alone. There are always tramps on this road, and some of those crazy fools back at the Corners may come scraggling along presently. There were boys there from the port. As far as I can see, the best thing to do is for us to sit patiently here with some, the best thing sorry guys. The best thing to do is for us to just sit patiently here until some car comes along and lends us enough gas to get to Roaring Abel's with. Well, what's the matter with that? We may have to sit here all night, said Barney. I don't mind, said Valancy. Barney gave a short laugh. If you don't, I needn't. I haven't any reputation to lose. Nor I, said Valancy comfortably. End of chapter. All right, you guys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that chapter. It's always been like all of the emotions that Valancy's feeling. Like a little fool, she goes up to that party. She knew, well, all the warning signs were there. Cissy was trying in her own little way to like let her know, you may want to rethink this, but sweet of Cissy to, let her have her experience, yet not spoil it for her, not spoil the experience, but also like send Barney out after her or something, just because she knows what it is, what those parties are like. So I'm glad for Cissy. Cissy is so sweet, you guys. All right, so let me see your comments. So we got, yes, a dance in a new dress, right? So she got that dress, and secretly in her secret heart of hers, she wanted, first off, she wanted Barney to see her in the dress. Also, she wanted Barney to be at the dance so she could dance with him. Oh my goodness, Valancy. You're a goner for sure. You've fallen hard. But see, like it's like a crush. It's a crush, you guys. It's not nothing like too big. Like she acknowledges that she's attracted to him, but it's innocent fun. Like it's not like anything's gonna happen, right? So yeah, a dance in a new dress. At least she enjoyed herself at first. But yeah, it turns out that it's in a very questionable area, very scandalous, like Little Butterfly says. And Arcadia Durrell points that that her party was the ancestor of the nightclub. Yeah, so you have to like have your friends to watch out for you because it can get a little crazy sometimes. I never had any nightclub like bad experience, probably because I never went to a nightclub for the sake of partying. I just went there because I needed to go there. Like it was necessary. Like, oh, fine, I guess. I'll just sit it out. Like I was just sitting there. I never went out to the dance floor. I'm sorry. I'm an introvert, and I wanted to get away as fast as I could. So yeah, I would have been in hell in that party. I would have hated it so much. I would never have gone up there. Even if Barney were there, would never have gone up there. Oh yes, and yeah, that drunk guy, he was like just manhandling her. I was like, yo, get your hands off of her. Glad that he got what was coming to him. Barney gave him a punch in the jaw and sent him reeling. Hooray, Barney! You're already like in my I'm already a fan of you just for having done that and rescued our girl. In spite of you being a jailbreaker or what, a jailbird, counterfeiter, infidel, you're still a good guy just because you rescued Valancy. All right, let's see. Crusher, hey Crusher, says Barney is Valancy's knight in shining armor, but without the armor. He doesn't have the armor, I know. In fact, the thing that made me laugh the most was how she's like, yes, my knight in shining armor is here, but the first thing she felt was that she was quite safe. She was relieved, happy that he was there. But then it's like, after her feeling of relief, the next one was of annoyance with Barney for coming there unshaved. Surely he might have enough self-respect to groom himself decently. Like, Valancy, like, come on, like, there he was, bareheaded, bristly chin in his old trousers and his blue homespun. Come on, girl, like, he's here to rescue. Like, he does not need to be in a tuxedo to rescue you. That he did not come to dance. But she was, you know, like, sometimes it's one of the things about us girls, like, we want to make sure that our guy looks his best, most presentable self. So it's just something that we can't help. We can't help it, you guys. We will make sure that you don't look bad. We will pick out your clothes if necessary. You do not look bad. And yes, shave. Unless you're going for the beard look, then properly grow it out. And groom that beard. Please. Brush it out and trim it and do all the things. Anyway. Yes, Crusher, you knew it. She did get new clothes. Indeed, she did. You get a prize. Ding, ding, ding. Everybody who guessed new clothes, yes, it was clothes. She wanted a dress, and she also got a little, what's it called? A nightgown. A cute little nightgown. A nightgown. Yes, so what do you guys think is going to happen? So now they finally got away from the party, and then Lady Jane, I feel like Lady Jane is like another character. Like, I know it's a car, but the way like that Ellen Montgomery writes about Lady Jane, or it's like really fond. Like Like I know people like they name their cars, and I will say I never name my car. Well, okay, I do name the cars, but not like I will actually call them like that to people. Like I will call like give it a name and everybody knows the name of the car. No, right now my car has a name. Right now, it's because thanks to the gang and everybody who collaborated when when a part of my car got stolen, I got help from all of you guys, and now it is called the Magmobile. It is newly baptized the Magmobile. But yeah, but it's anyway. All that to say, Lady Jane ran out of gas. Lady Jane left them on the side of the road, stranded, and now they have to wait for somebody to come and give them some gas or wait for the next morning when they can just walk the rest of the way. Man, nothing bad could go wrong, right? Absolutely nothing bad could go wrong. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They're at night, in the middle of the road, alone. She's unchaperoned, you guys. This is like crazy for that time. So, just saying. Just saying. All right. Let's continue on reading. Oh, could you link us to that Gutenberg project? Yes, I will. Do you want me to do it now? Or do you want me to, can you wait until the end? Because if I do it right now, I can't talk and look it up. Oh, let me just do it now. Might as well. Why should I leave you waiting for something as wondrous as a book? Hold on a sec. So basically, just go to Project Gutenberg and go to the Blue Castle. Once you go to the projectgutenberg.org, go to search for the Blue Castle, and then it is here. What I am doing is I downloaded this one. I forgot which one I did. I think I did the regular one of these. Depends on your kind. It's an EPUB. Just get an EPUB, download it, and then I upload it to my Google Reader so that I could have it in any of my devices that I have Google Books downloaded. You can also upload it to Kindle, up to you. But I like the Google one because that one has the read aloud option. So that's just me. All right. So, oh, shoot. I didn't even give you the link. I'm sorry. All right. Let's do this. There's a link on the chat, Crusher. I hope you enjoy the book. Let's continue on. Chapter 21. This is the last chapter for today. Okay, let's do this. We'll just sit here, said Barney, and if we think of anything worthwhile saying, we'll say it. Otherwise not. Don't imagine you're bound to talk to me. John Foster says, quoted Valancy, if you can't sit in silence with a person for half an hour and yet if you can sit in silence with a person for half an hour and yet be entirely comfortable, you and that person can be friends. If you cannot, friends you'll never be, and you need not waste time in trying. Evidently John Foster says a sensible thing once in a while, conceded Barney. They sat in silence for a long while. Little rabbits hopped across the road. Once or twice, an owl laughed out loud deliberately. An owl laughed out delightfully. The road beyond them was fringed with the woven shadow lace of trees. Away off to the southwest, the sky was full of silvery little cirrus clouds above the spot where Barney's Island must be. Valancy was perfectly happy. Something's dawned on you slowly. Something's come by, lightning flashes. Valancy had had a lightning flash. Oh, hold on a sec. What is this lightning flash, you guys? What do you guys think? Let's see. Okay. Valancy had a lightning flash. She knew quite well now that she loved Barney. Yesterday she had been all her own, now she was this man's. Yet he had done nothing, said nothing. He had not even looked at her as a woman, but that didn't matter. Not that it mattered what he was or what he had done. She loved him without any reservations. Everything in her went out wholly to him. She had no wish to stifle or disown her love. She seemed to be his so absolutely that thought apart from him, thought in which he did not predominate, was an impossibility. She had realized, she had realized, quite simply and fully, that she loved him. In the moment when he was leaning on the car door, explaining that Lady Jane had no gas, she had looked deep into his eyes in the moonlight and had known. In just that infinitesimal space of time, everything was changed. All things passed away, and all things became new. She was no longer unimportant, little, old maid Valancy Stirling. She was a woman, full of love and therefore rich and significant, justified to herself. Life was no longer empty and futile, and death could cheat her of nothing. Love had cast out her last fear. Love, what a searing, torturing, intolerably sweet thing it was. This possession of body, soul, and mind, with something at its core as fine and remote and purely spiritual as a tiny blue spark in the heart of the unbreakable diamond. No dream had ever been like this. She was no longer solitary. She was one of a vast sisterhood, all the women who had ever loved in the world. Barney need never know it, though she would not in the least have minded his knowing. But she knew it, and it made a tremendous difference to her. Just to love. She did not ask to be loved. It was rapture enough just to sit there beside him in silence, alone in the summer night, in the white splendor of moonshine, with the wind blowing down on them out of the pine woods. She had always envied the wind, so free, blowing where it listed, through the hills, over the lakes. What a tang, what a zip it had. No, what a zip it had. What a magic of adventure. Valancy felt as if she had exchanged her shop-worn soul for a fresh one, fire new from the workshop of the gods. As far back as she could look, life had been dull, colorless, savorless. Now she had come to a little patch of violets, purple and fragrant, hers for the plucking. No matter who or what had been in Barney's past, no matter who or what might be in his future, no one else could ever have this perfect hour. She surrendered herself utterly to the charm of the moment. "Ever dream of ballooning?" said Barney suddenly. "No," said Valancy. "I do, often. Dream of sailing through the clouds, seeing the glories of sunset, spending hours in the midst of a terrific storm with lightning playing above and below you, skimming above a silver cloud floor under a full moon. Wonderful." "It does sound so," said Valancy. "I've stayed on Earth in my dreams." She told him about her blue castle. It was so easy to tell Barney things. One felt he understood everything, even the things you didn't tell him. And then she told him a little of her existence before she came to Roaring Abel's. She wanted him to see why she had gone to the dance up back. "You see, I've never had any real life," she said. "I've just breathed. Every door has always been shut to me." "But you're still young," said Barney. "Oh, I know. Yes, I'm still young. But that's so different from young," she said bitterly. For a moment she was tempted to tell Barney why her years had nothing to do with her future, but she did not. She was not going to think of death tonight. "Though I never was really young," she went on, "until tonight. I've never, oh wait, hold on a second. Yeah. Though I never was really young," she went on, "until tonight," she added in her heart. I never had a life like other girls. You couldn't understand. Why, she had a desperate desire that Barney should know the worst about her. Why, I didn't even love my mother. Isn't that awful? I don't love my mother? I don't love my mother? Ugh. Isn't it awful that I don't love my mother? Rather awful for her, he said dryly. Oh, she didn't know it. She took my love for granted. And I wasn't any use or comfort to her or anybody. I was just a vegetable, and I got tired of it. That's why I came to keep house for Mr. Gay and look after Cissy. And I suppose your people thought you'd gone mad. They did, and do, literally, said Valancy. But it's a comfort to them. They'd rather believe me mad than bad. There's no other alternative. But I've been living since I came to Mr. Gay's. It's been a delightful experience. I suppose I'll pay for it when I have to go back, but I'll have had it. That's true, he said. If you buy your experience, it's your own, so it's no matter how much you pay for it. Somebody else's experience can never be yours. Well, it's a funny old world. Do you think it really is old? Asked Bouncy dreamily. I never believed that in June. It seems so young tonight somehow. In that quivering moonlight, like a young white girl waiting. Moonlight here on the verge of a back is different from moonlight anywhere else, agreed Barney. It always makes me feel so clean somehow, body and soul, and, of course, the age of gold always comes back in spring. It was 10 o'clock now. A dragon of black cloud ate up the moon. The spring air grew chill. Valancy shivered. Barney reached back into the innards of Lady Jane and clawed up an old tobacco-scented overcoat. Put that on, he ordered. Don't you want it for yourself? Protested Valancy. No, I'm not going to have you catching cold on my hands. Oh, I won't catch cold. I haven't had a cold since I came to Mr. Gay's, though I've done the foolishest things. It's funny, too. I used to have them all the time. I feel so selfish taking your coat. You've sneezed 3 times. No use winding up your experience up back with grippe or pneumonia. He pulled it up tight about her throat and buttoned it on her. Valancy submitted with secret delight. How nice it was to have someone look after you so. She snuggled down into the tobacco-y folds and wished the night could last forever. 10 minutes later, a car swooped down upon them from up back. Valancy sprang from Lady Jane and waved his hand. The car came to a stop beside them. Valancy saw Uncle Wellington and Olive gazing at her in horror from it. So Uncle Wellington had got a car, and he must have been spending the evening up at Miss Dowis with Cousin Herbert. Valancy almost laughed out loud at the expression on his face as he recognized her. The pompous, bewhiskered old humbug. Can you let me have enough gas to take me to Deerwood? Barney was saying politely. But Uncle Wellington was not attending to him. Valancy, how came you here? He said sternly. By chance or God's grace, said Valancy. With this jailbird at 10 o'clock at night, said Uncle Wellington. Valancy turned to Barney. The moon had escaped from its dragon, and in its light her eyes were full of deviltry. Are you a jailbird? Does it matter? Said Barney, gleams of fun in his eyes. Not to me. I only asked out of curiosity, she continued. Then I won't tell you. I never satisfy curiosity. He turned to Uncle Wellington, and his voice changed subtly. Mr. Stirling, I asked you if you could let me have some gas. If you can, well and good. If not, we are only detaining you unnecessarily. Uncle Wellington was in a horrible dilemma. To give gas to this shameless pair, but not to give it to them. To go away and leave them there in the Mistawis woods until daylight, likely. It was better to give it to them and let them get out of sight before anyone else saw them. Got any... I see you guys said the family will hear about this. Oh, yes, they will. Oh, yes, they will. Got anything to get gas in? He grunted surlily. Oh my goodness, these hard words. I keep telling you guys, I've read this book a million times, but it's the first time I read it out loud, so a lot of words I'm like, oh shoot, how do I say this? Okay. uh, Got anything to get gas in? He grunted surlily. Barney produced a 2-gallon measure from Lady Jane. The two men went to the rear of the Stirling car and began manipulating the tap. Valancy stole sly glances at Olive over the collar of Barney's coat. Olive was sitting grimly, staring straight ahead with an outraged expression. She did not mean to take any notice of Valancy. Olive had her own secret reasons for feeling outraged. Cecil had been in Deerwood lately and of course had heard all about Valancy. He agreed that her mind was deranged and was exceedingly anxious to find out whence the derangement had been inherited. It was a serious thing to have it was a Cecil. It was a serious thing to have in the family. A very serious thing. One had to think of one's descendants. She got it from the Wansboroughs, said Olive positively. There's nothing like that in the Stirlings. Nothing. I hope not. I certainly hope not, Cecil had responded dubiously. But then, to go out as a servant, for what is the... hold on. I don't like the Cecil voice. I'm going to change it. High nasally? No, I don't think so. Anyway. I hope not. I certainly hope not, Cecil had responded dubiously. But then, to go out as a servant, for that is what it practically amounts to. Your cousin. Poor Olive felt the implication. The Port Lawrence Prices were not accustomed to ally themselves with families whose members worked out. Valancy could not resist temptation. She leaned forward. Olive, does it hurt? Olive bit stiffly. Does what hurt? Looking like that. For a moment, Olive resolved she would take no further notice of Valancy. Then duty came uppermost. She must not miss the opportunity. Doss, she implored, leaning forward also. Won't you come home? Come home tonight? Valancy yawned. You sound like a revival meeting, said. You really do. If you will come back, all will be forgiven? Yes, said Olive eagerly. Wouldn't it be splendid if she could induce the prodigal daughter to return? We'll never cast it up to you, Doss. There are nights when I cannot sleep for thinking of you. And me having the time of my life, said Valancy, laughing. Doss, I can't believe you're bad. I've always thought you couldn't be bad. Oh, I don't believe I can be, said Valancy. I'm afraid I'm hopelessly proper. I've been sitting here for 3 hours with Barney Snaith, and he hasn't even tried to kiss me. I wouldn't have minded if he had, Olive. Valancy was still leaning forward. Her little hat with its crimson rose was tilted down over one eye. Olive stared. In the moonlight, Valancy's smile. What had happened to Valancy? She looked not pretty. Doss couldn't be pretty, but provocative, fascinating. Yes, abominably so. Olive drew back. It was beneath her dignity to say more. After all, Valancy must be both mad and bad. Thanks. That's bad and mad and bad. Thanks. That's enough, said Barney behind the car. Much obliged, Mr. Stirling. 2 gallons, 70 cents. Thank you. Uncle Wellington climbed foolishly and feebly into his car. He wanted to give Snaith a piece of his mind, but dared not. Who knew what the creature might do if provoked? No doubt he carried firearms. Uncle Wellington looked indecisively at Valancy, but Valancy had turned her back on him and was watching Barney pour the gas into Lady Jane's maw. Dry bun, said Olive decisively. There's no use in waiting here. Let me tell you what she said to me. The little hussy! The shameless little hussy! Said Uncle Wellington. End of chapter. All right, you guys. Yeah. Those that was the encounter with her family. Encounter number, I don't know how many times her family has tried to be in contact with her, but this is definitely a low, well, to them it's a low point. We have not just Valancy going out to work, and not just Valancy, going to a different church. But now we have Valancy riding in Barney Snaith's car, unchaperoned, alone, in the middle of the night, and them getting stuck over there. Oh my goodness gracious. You have to feel sorry for the mother, but I don't. Yeah, so what did you guys... Yeah, so, okay, let me see. Yeah, a little awkward silence or not? Awkward silence or not? Oh, love. That progressed quickly. Yes, it did progress quickly, but let's remember that he's been living in her head rent-free for like a few years now. And just getting to know him, she doesn't really know much about him. And honestly, she doesn't care. She said it herself, like in her. Like, she doesn't care what's his past or his future. She only cares for the right now. She has no idea what he's done. It's kind of like the Backstreet Boys song, I don't care who you are, where you're from. It doesn't care what he did. And it doesn't even matter if he doesn't like her or if she just likes him and she does not expect anything, any reciprocation or anything like that. It's just, I'll just be happy with this feeling, and it's interesting, it's cool, nice. So, what did you guys think about these two chapters? It's Valancy, like, little by little starting to break free, and now that she no longer has to, no longer her tastes, her thoughts, her time is dictated by others, she is able to think for herself and decide what she likes, what she wants to do, what she wants to wear, her own fashion, like her own fashion sense. I doubt there was anybody in the store that told her this is how it should look like. No, she kind of just put the dress and the hat and the girdle and the clothes and the little collar she made for herself together all on her own. So it's nice to see her kind of coming into herself, deciding, like, becoming her own person. It's sad that it came much too late. She has her heart failure, but we have to understand, you guys, how many times could she have dropped dead? Or at least she should have had something should have happened. She said that they ran hand in hand through the night to get away from the people in the party, and she never thought about how she could drop dead at any moment. It's like, yo, what's going on here? We know she has a heart issue. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Probably it's I don't know how I want to phrase this, but anyway, just something for us to, like, ponder on for now. Yeah. So yeah, love that progressed quickly. I don't know. It did progress quickly. Honestly, I would still call it, like, intense liking for somebody. I don't know about love, but we'll see. Love is a mighty big strong word. So let us give Valancy that. She doesn't have much for this world, and she's always wanted to love somebody. So let her have this. Yeah. Let's see. So, how to stop the wrong car 101. So, Arcadia drove right of all the cars in all of Canada that could have drone by at that moment, at that hour, it was Uncle Wellington and Olive. Wow, yeah. So, yeah, the family will hear about this. We will see that. We will see what's the outcome of this whole adventure, or this misadventure, what happens after this and the results of it in the next read along. Yes, Crusher says, Valancy, just living in the moment. When your time becomes limited, you'll just say yes to everything, right? Exactly. So I kind of feel like all this time she had it within herself to be adventurous and happy and witty, and it's unfortunate that she was never allowed to bloom when she was at home, but at least it's happening now, and it's a joy to see. I love it. So that was chapter 20 and 21. The next time we meet again, we will be reading. Let me see. I think we're gonna be reading another 2 chapters. That's 1 chapter. 2 chapters. We're gonna be reading 3 chapters. Yes, we will be reading 3 chapters. 3 chapters for sure. I cannot not read the 3rd chapter. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today. Let me know what you thought about this read, this book so far, the story, Valancy. If you were to be given your first paycheck and you knew you were about to die, let's change the story. If you were to be given like some money and you knew you were about to die, what would you do to splurge it on? So no savings. Because I mean, what are you gonna save it on? And you don't have to worry about your family being in monetary need. Just on you. What would you spend it on? I'm still thinking about it. Probably I would spend it on a trip. Yeah, on a trip to somewhere I would never go. I've never gone before, but I've always wanted to. Now, should we put a budget on this? Because let's say Valancy is working as a let's put a budget of $500. What can you do with $500? You just splurge, and you can go wild, huh? I guess I could if I can do a trip on $500. Yeah, I could still do a camping trip somewhere I have not gone camping. Maybe. And take somebody with me. No, it would be too expensive to take someone with me. If they pay their share, then yes. All right. Crusher, almost everything. I mean, no dancing with drunks. Yes, no dancing with drunks. Yeah, that's the limit. Like, don't put yourself in peril. But to be honest, she did not know she was gonna end up then being pulled and accosted by drunks. So, but she never went to a proper. Well, she did go to dances, but not a dance up back. So she wanted to live a little. But just be careful when you live a little. I guess that night will accelerate changes that are coming. Yes, it'll definitely have some effects. Indeed, drunk guy is definite no. Yes, be careful with the drunk guys. Take a plan. Okay, so for you it's a ticket to Japan for Lisa concert. Ooh, nice. Okay, and then Crusher says with $500 I could go skydiving. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, you're already gonna die at some point, right? So why not just, have a little brush with death? And I mean, it's not gonna kill you. There's always the risk in the back of your mind, but if you know you're already gonna go, then you might as well, yeah. Skydiving, that's excellent. That's an excellent suggestion. I would also go skydiving. When I was younger, I used to love roller coasters. I love them. And the bad thing about me loving roller coasters is that absolutely nobody in my family, and even some of my girlfriends, they did not love roller coasters. So I had to go by myself. And it was so sad, and it was so annoying because, sometimes you have to wait on a long line for the roller coaster, and just waiting by yourself, it's like, yo, I don't like this anymore. So after a while, I just outgrew roller coasters because it was, the thrill is fun, but half of the thrill is going with somebody, and if nobody, yeah, and so, yeah, it's no fun when you're on your own. But I do miss the roller coaster days. So if I could just kind of have some more thrill, the next level would be bungee jump. No, not bungee jumping. I think I feel safer. Oddly enough, I would feel safer skydiving than bungee jumping, just because I don't know. A bungee cord seems scary to me. But I can trust a parachute. I don't know. I can't explain it, you guys. With $500, says Arcady Joel, A restaurant and try any food I want. Yes. Yummy, yummy. For every day. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. Try all these tasty things. Crusher, we got a skydiving business 3 blocks away from where I live, but never had the nerve to go check it out. Crusher! Dare I tell you to channel your inner Valancy and go check it out? We want Crusher to check it out one day. Maybe not soon, but do check it out one day. I hope when you feel brave enough, and maybe you have a buddy with you, you go and check it out. It's definitely, I'm sure it's definitely worth it. I've always wanted to do it too, but anyway, may you find a buddy, and I think it's I want to say, like, I want to push you into your Valancy moment, but who am I? Because then people could turn around and say, why don't you do something incredibly, like, why don't you go and do it too? And I can't promise that I will go. I can't promise I'll do it because I'm still a little bit of a scaredy cat. I need that push, that assurance that, well, I'm gonna die in a year, so why not? Sorry, I'm being terrible about this, right? Okay, I think I should stop now. It's been lovely to be with you guys. Thanks for joining me to read along, and thanks for joining me in this read along with Valancy and Barney and with all of these characters. I hope that you join me. I think I'm gonna do one tomorrow. Yeah, let's do one tomorrow. I want to finish this not as soon as possible, but yeah, I think tomorrow I'm gonna do another one because I really want to get through the next 3 chapters. They leave us off on a good point. All right, everybody. Again, thank you to everybody who joined the early gang and the late gang and everybody who is listening on the replay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and that you go on out there, have a little fun, but don't go too wild, okay? Just don't go too wild. Learn from Valancy's experience. Sometimes you don't be a little fool. Bye, everybody. Love you. Take care.